Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to EnggAdda. So in this video we are going to discuss what is transaction management and how we can achieve the transaction management in a Spring Boot application using transactional annotation. Okay, so everything will cover in this video. So first of all, let me try to explain you what is transaction. Okay, so let me go to the next slide and you can see uh, in an enterprise application, a transaction is a sequence of action performed by the application that together pipeline to perform a single operation. Okay, so transaction is nothing but it is a sequence of actions performed together to carry out the single operation. Let me try to give you an example. So let's say you're going to book a flight using some a website like Paytm, Go, Bibo, something like that, okay, or IRCTC. So there you need to provide the user details. Like you are the end user, you are going to book the flight ticket, then you need to provide your details. And then once your detail is feeded into the site, then they will try to validate those things and then they will try to give you a payment gateway. And then there you need to provide the payment details and then you need to do the payment. Once the user detail is given, once the payment is done, then you can book your ticket, right? So here you can see you have the two actions in the pipeline. One is you need to provide your user details and second is you have to provide the payment details, and then you can complete your ticket booking operation. Similarly, let's say you want to book something or you want to order something from the e-commerce website. Let's say you want to order from Flipkart. You want to order one mobile, right? And then you need to provide the order details and the payment details similarly to uh, place your order, right? So once those things is done, then you can receive your order. So this is what transaction is. Now let me try to explain you one scenario. So let's say you are going to book a flight, right? And then you have to provide your user details. So once you provided your user details, those details are being saved into the database of that particular website. Okay. And then the payment gateway is there in front of you. You have to make the payment. And let's say your payment is not completed. Somehow it is not completed. You got some error and something else, or you don't have sufficient balance to make those payment. So your payment is not completed. But in that case, your details is being saved in the DB of that particular site and the payment is not completed. So this should not be the ideal case, right? So if the payment is not completed, the end user details should not be saved to the database of that particular website where you are going to book the ticket. But how this is achieved in the Spring Boot? So there comes the picture of transactional annotations. Transactional annotation help us to achieve this functionality. So how we can avoid if the one action is failed, then how we can also fail the second action or the pipelined actions in that case. So that thing is been being achieved using the transactional annotation. So we'll try to discuss everything related to that. I will create one Spring Boot application. I will also create one example and we'll try to show you how transactional is helping us uh, to carry out the transaction management in a Spring Boot application. So in the next slide, I have created one I would say block diagram showing the whole flow of the application that we are going to develop in this video. So let me try to go to the new slide and here you can see. So we are going to develop the Spring Boot application using the example of the order, okay, not the flight booking. So we are going to develop the Spring Boot application and show the work of transactional, or we'll try to show you how the transaction management is being done in the Spring Boot application using order example. Okay, so let's say you have two actions. One is order. like you have to provide the order details. Second action is you have to provide the payment. Okay, so you have two actions. Let's say uh, order is, you have provided the order details and that order details is being saved to the DB of that particular uh, website. Let's say you are ordering some food from the Zomato, okay, or Swiggy. Let's say Zomato, okay. So you are ordering one food from the Zomato. You have provided the order details. The order details is being saved to the Zomato website database, and then you see the payment gateway in front of you. And now you have to provide the payment details. Let's say your payment details is being failed. You got some exception. You don't have the sufficient amount or you got some error. In that case, your payment details is being failed, but still your order details is being saved in their database. But this is not the ideal scenario. That is what we discussed. So if the payment is failing, the order information should not be stored into the DB. That should be the ideal case, right? So here the transactional will help us. So what we'll do, we'll try to create one order entity, one payment entity. We'll try to send the order request, which is containing the order information, payment information. The payment should be validated. If the exception, if we are getting some exception, then order should not be saved and the payment should not be saved to the DB. If everything is fine, we get the order acknowledgement response to the client. And both of the details like payment details and the order details is being saved to the DB. So this is what we are going to develop in this video. So let's get started for that. So let me try to go to the IntelliJ and try creating one Spring Boot application. So let me try to close this slide from here and let me go to the IntelliJ, and let's say, let me try to open a file, new project, and let's say the project name is Spring Boot Transactional, Spring Boot Transaction Management, something like that. Transaction Management. Okay, and it is of Maven type. Let me try to go to the next. And we need some starter dependency. So let's say Lombok, and this is the web application. So we need Spring Web. We are going to use the database as a MySQL. So we need MySQL driver, and we need JPA as well. Okay, and that's it. Let me try to create this application and open a new slide. In between, let me try to open the MySQL database as well. Let me try to create one DB here, and that DB we are going to use in our application. Okay, so just wait for MySQL to be up. Till then, the Spring Boot application is downloading all the starter dependency that we have added here, and you can see my MySQL is up. Let me try to connect. Let me try to provide the password, and yeah, we are good. Now let me try to create one DB here. So just right click on the database, and let's say the DB name is transaction management, something like that. It won't take the capital things. Transaction management. Okay, apply and apply, finish. So our DB is created. You can come here and go to the down. You can see transaction management, right? As of now, we don't have anything inside the tables and view. So simply we have created our database. This database we are going to use in our application. Now let me go to the IntelliJ, and our application is configured and it has downloaded all the starter dependency. You can see it is good. Now first of all, let me try to do the database connectivity. So let me try to go to the resource application properties file, and let me try to directly copy paste these things from the previous application that I have developed. So this is some configuration related to the database connectivity. You can see. Now let me try to use the database that we have created as of now. So just copy this, come here and provide the database name. So this is the URL, JDBC MySQL localhost. This is the port number on which our MySQL is up locally, and this is the database that we are going to use. We have provided the username, which is root, and this is the password for me. And this is some additional configuration for the Hibernate query, and this is the port number on which our application will be up. So these are some database related configuration. Let me try to run this and then try to see if our application is up locally or not. If it is up, then it will be good with the connection of the DB. Otherwise, we'll get some exception. So just you can see our application is up on the port number 9000. Now what we need to do, let me try to go to the slide, and here you can see we are going to create these two entities, order information and the payment information, and this order request is the DTO for us. So let me try to develop those things. So first of all, let me try to create the order entity, payment entity. So just go there. So go to the application, right click on it, go to the package, and let's say we are going to create the entity package. We are going to uh, use the MVC patterns for the development of this application. So we'll create entity, we'll create the repository, we'll create the service simple and controller. And if you require the util exception, so all those things we are going to create. Okay. So let me try to create the repository here. If you are not aware of these things, then I already have created couple of videos uh, for the Spring Boot CRUD application. There I have discussed these flows in detail, so you can watch those things and then you will be good. So now let me try to create the service here, and controller, and let's say we need some DTO as well, and util as well. So let me try to go to the entity and right click on it, create the payment entity, payment info, and we need to create the order info. Okay, so let me try to use Lombok and try avoiding the boilerplate code. So we can directly, using this at the rate all argument constructor, we can directly create the constructor and we can avoid the boilerplate code. Okay, so let me try to similarly use no argument constructor, and the for getter and setters to string we are using data, and this is the entity class, so we need to provide the entity here, and we are going to create the table for this, and the table name should be, let's say, order info, and we need to provide the order information details here. So let's say we are going to create a couple of attributes here, like order ID, product name, and the order status. So we are keeping it simple. We are not going to create lot of attributes. We are just keeping it simple. We are going to focus mainly on the at the rate transaction, at the rate transactional annotation, and how we can achieve the transaction management in the Spring Boot application. So let me try to create the ID here. So private integer ID and private, let's say, string product name, and private string order status. Okay, and this is the ID. Let me try to annotate it with the at the rate ID. So we are good now. Let me go to the payment and let me try to create the payment details as well. So similarly, We need all these annotations here as well. So just copy from here, go to the payment information and paste it. And let me try to change the table name. So this is the payment info entity. So we need to make the table as a payment info, something like that. And we need some ID here as well. So private, let's say the ID is long, and private product name for which you are going to make the payment. Okay, the payment ID, product name for which you are going to make the payment, and the amount. Okay, so these three things, let me try to annotate this with at the rate ID. So we are good now. Now let me go to the repository and try creating the repo here. So we need to create two repository. One is for the payment and another is for the order. So let's say order repo, extending the ZPA repository, and we need to provide the order info and its ID type. Okay. Similarly, you need to create the repository for the payment. So let's say payment repo, and it is a interface. Just add this, and now let me try to extend it, and we need to extend this to the JPA repository, and we need to pass the two parameters. One is the entity and the ID type of the entity. So the entity name is payment info and the ID type for it is long. Okay, so we are good now. Now let me try to go to the service and try creating one order, something like that, order service. Okay, so just hit enter, and let me try to annotate this with at the rate service. So we are good now. Now in the service, what we'll do, we'll try to create one method which will be taking out the order request, and in order request we should be having the order details, order information, and the payment information. So let me try to, first of all, yeah. So here in the order service, what we'll do, we'll try to create one method which will take the order request, which contains the order request contains the order information and the payment information, and based upon the order request, that method will try to save the order details or the order information details to the DB and the payment information details to the DB if it is a successful order placement. If it is not, then in that case, both of the actions should be avoided, like they are not being saved to the DB. So that we are going to do. So for that, we are going to create one method here. So let me try to, first of all, let me try to create the DTO, which is order request. So just come here to the DTO, create new. You can, let me try to explain you here. You can come and you can see this is the order request. It contains the order information and the payment information, and that is, this is the request that we are passing to that method, and it is validating the payment. And if it is validated, then it is saving the payment and the order to the DB. If it is not, then it is avoiding the order information and the payment information to be saved in the DB. So this is order request that we are going to develop. And if it is like order information and the payment information are good, payment is validated, then both of them are going to saved into the DB, and we are going to generate one order acknowledgement response, and we are sending that response to the client. So let me try to create this order request and the order acknowledgement response first of all, and then we'll try to create the method which is validating those things and then saving it to the DB or not. So let me try to go to the IntelliJ, and let me try to, so we are inside the, let me try to go to the DTO, right click on it, and let me try to create the order order acknowledgement and order request. Okay, so that thing we are going to do. So let's say it is order acknowledgement. Add this. Similarly, we need to create the order request. So order request contains the payment information and the order information. So let me try to create these two attributes inside the order request. So let's say order info and private payment information. Okay. And let me try to annotate this class with at the rate all argument, no argument, and data for the getter and setter. So we are good with the order request. Now we need to create the order acknowledgement. So in acknowledgement, let's say you want something like status, total fare, and the payment information to be displayed in the response. So let me try to create those attributes here. So let's say private string status. If it is like if the order is successful or not, those statuses we are going to provide here. And similarly, we need to provide the total, let's say total payable amount or fee, something like that you can say. Payable amount. And let's say we are also providing the payment information here. Okay, so we are good now. Let me try to annotate this with at the rate all argument, no argument, and getter and setter. So we are using data. So we are good now. Now let me go to the order service. So here we are going to create the method that will be taking up the order request as an input and then validating those payment details, and based upon that it is generating one response, and that response we are going to send the client. Okay, so let me try to do that. So for that, let's say it is a method called public and its return type is order acknowledgement. Okay, and let's say placing order, something like that. So here we are passing the request, order request, and now what we do, let me try to go to the slide. You can see we are passing the order request, and then if the order is like if we are filling the order details, it is being saved to the DB, and then the validation of the payment details is being done. If it is also validated, it is being saved to the DB. If it is not validated, we are throwing the exception. Okay, and both of these details should not be saved in that case into the DB, right? So first of all, what we'll do, we'll try to achieve the scenario where we are not using at the rate transactional, so that I can show you what error we are making, and then we'll try to use at the rate transactional, and then I will try to remove those things and then show you the ideal case. Okay, so let me try to go there. So let's say we are passing this order request. Okay, based upon the order request, what we are doing, we are uh, taking out the order information from order request. Okay, similarly, and then we are what we are doing, we are just saving it to the DB. So order information is equal to order repository. So let me try to auto wire the repository for the order information and the payment information here in this class. So just private order information, sorry, order repository, order repository. Similarly, we need to auto wire the payment as well because both of them we are going to use here. So private payment repo. So what we are doing, we are just using this order request, and then we are taking out the order information from it and then saving it to the DB. So order repo dot save and order information. Okay. Let me try to develop these things and then I will try to explain you. And then I will also try to correlate this with that block diagram that we have created. Okay. So what we are doing, we are just fetching out the order information from the order request, saving it to the DB. Now we'll try to fetch out the payment information. Okay. So payment info payment repo dot get payment information, and then okay, let me try to, sorry, this would be the order request. From order request we are getting out the payment information, and this should be imported here. And once this payment information that we have extracted out from the order request, we need to validate this payment information. Okay, so let's say you are going to place the order for the product mobile, and the product price is 20,000, but you are sending the money as 10,000. Then in that case you don't have the sufficient amount to place this order, right? So how we can validate these things? So for that we need to create one util class. There we'll try to uh, statically log couple of details related to the order, and then we what we'll do, we'll try to create one let's say map where we'll try to store the product name and their order. Okay, and then based upon that, whatever request is coming from the user, we'll try to go to that util class and we'll try to validate those things. So let me try to create one util and try to show you how we can validate the payment information for the particular product. So right click on it and just come here, or what I can do, I can, like, I can complete the flow here and then we'll try to go to the util and create the validate method there, and I will try to show you those things as well. So as of now, just keep in mind that we are providing the order information, like we have the order information and the payment information in the order request. We are extracting out the order information, saving it to the DB. We are extracting out the payment information, and then we are validating this payment information based upon some records that we already have. Okay, and if that payment information is validated, then only we can place the order. If it is not validated, we'll throw the exception. You can come here, right? So what we are doing, we are getting this order request, we are fetching out the order information from it, we are saving into the DB, we are fetching out the payment information, we are validating this. If it is validated, then it is being saved to the DB, otherwise it will throw the exception. So similarly, we are going to achieve these things here as well. So for that, we have extracted out the payment information. And now let's say we are going to create one method which will validate the payment information. Okay, so based upon the, uh, let's say, yeah, we are passing the payment information, we are going to validate it. Now, if it is validated, then what we are doing, we are setting couple of things in the order information. So let me try to go to the order information and try to show you what details we have in the order information. So just do a control B, and in the order information you can say you have the ID, product name, and the order status, right? So we'll try to set the product name in the order information, and then save it to the DB. So just come here to the order service. Let's say we have the order information dot set. Let's say product name which we are getting from the payment. And now what we need to do, we need to save the order back to the DB. So let's say order repository dot save. Similarly, we need to, once the payment is validated, we need to save the payment as well to the DB. So save payment information as well. And then what we need to do, we need to return one acknowledgement. So just return new order acknowledgement. And in the order acknowledgement, what fields we have? We have the status. Let me try to go to the order acknowledgement. So you can see we have the status, we have the payment amount, and the we have the payment information. So those things will try to return from here. So let's say if it is everything is good, the order status should be success. And what was the other thing? It was the payable amount. Okay, so that amount we can take it from the payment information. So we have the payment information dot get amount, and then we need to provide the payment whole payment information here. So just provide the payment information as well. So you can see payment info, right? And we are good now. Now we need to create this validate payment method. So for that I have created this util package. Come here, right click on it and create one payment validation class, something like that. Okay, and here we'll try to create that method, and we'll try to uh, create one method which will what will do it will try to validate our payment related information. Okay, so come here to the order service, and let's say just copy it, or you can come here to the payment validation. What was the method name? It was validate payment information. Go to the payment validation, and first of all what we'll do, we will have couple of records saved for ourselves from where we can validate the payment which is coming from the user. So let's say we are going to create one static data. Okay, so private static, let me try to remove those things. We are going to create one map here which will contain the product name and its value. So it is of a string comma double, and let me try to import this from util. Now let's say its name is payment map, something like that. Payment details, something like that. New hash map. Let me try to import the hash map here. Now let me try to create one static block, and in the hash map that we have created payment details, we need to put couple of information for ourselves. So let's say we have the product as a mobile and its price should be 20,000, let's say 20,000.0. Similarly, you can also create couple of records with the couple of products. Okay, so let's say we have laptop and its price is, let's say, 60,000. Similarly, we have the tablet and its price is, let's say, 30,000. We have charger and let's say its price is 1000. So these details we already have. Based upon these details, whatever request is coming from the end user, will try to validate these things, and then we'll try to, if it is not validated, we'll try to raise one exception. If it is validated, it is good, it is being saved to the DB. So let me try to create that method. So come here to the order service, and you can see this is the method that we have created here, which is validate payment information. Now come here to the payment validation, and let's say it is a boolean method. So public static boolean. Here we are passing the, what we are passing. Let me try to go to the, we are passing the payment information. Come here, pass the payment info. Okay. Now it should return, if it is like the amount is good for the particular product, then it should return true, else it will throw the exception. So let me try to do those things. So let's say payment information dot payable amount get amount. Let's say if this amount is less than the amount which is present for the particular product. Okay. So we have this map here, payment details. In the payment details, we have let's say get, and we are going to get the product. So let's say it is payment information dot get product name. So in the payment information we have what we have. Let me try to show you. So in payment information we have ID, we have product name and the amount. So we are just going to use these two attributes. We have the product name and the amount in the payment information. Come here to the payment util, payment validation, and you can see we have passed this payment information. Okay, based upon this attributes, based upon this reference, in this reference we have the payment, uh, we have the product name and the payment of that particular product. Okay, so we are fetching out the amount for the particular product. So here you can see in the hash map what we have saved the particular product and their amount. So the mobile has the price 20,000, and laptop has the price 60,000, tablet has the price 30,000, and charger has the price 1,000. So we are fetching out the product from this map, and we are just comparing the amount of that particular product from the amount that we are getting from here. Okay, if it is matching, it is good. If it is not matching, we are going to throw the exception. So if the amount is less than the amount what is listed here, then in that case it will throw the exception. So throw new, let me try to, so this, if this get amount and get the amount for this particular key, and if it is less than that, then we'll need to throw the exception which is saying that insufficient fund or insufficient money exception, something like that. Let's say insufficient amount, something like that. We are just going to log. If it is not the case, then what we need to do, we need to return the true, because this is a boolean method. Okay, so we are good. Now let me try to create this exception. So copy this and come here to the, let me try to create one package called exception here. Oh, sorry, right click on it, new, and package, call exception. Just right click on it, create one exception class here, which can extend the runtime exception or exception, something like that. Let's say we are going to extend it the runtime exception, and we need to create the constructor for it. Copy this, and it should throw some message here. So this is how we need to create the exception, custom exception. If you are not aware how to create it, I already have covered in a video, so you can go and watch it out. So we are good now. Now let me go to the order service. Let me try to import it, and good. Now go to the util, and let me try to import this as well. So we are good now. Okay. So let me try to give you the whole flow. So go to the order service. Here you can see what we have created one method which is using the order request as the input parameter and returning the order acknowledgement. If the from this order request we are getting out the order information, saving it to the DB. We are getting out the payment information. We are validating that payment information based upon couple of what I would say couple of details that we have already saved. So based upon these details, we are validating the amount of that particular product. If it is good, the amount is more than the amount that is listed here in the back end. If it is there, if the amount is more than the amount for the particular product which is listed here, then it is going to return true, else it is going to create one exception. Okay, so that is the whole flow, and this is also listed here as well. You can see we are saving the order, we are validating the payment information. If it is validated, we are saving it to the DB. If it is not validated, we are throwing the exception. So in both of the cases, if it is validated or not validated, we are saving the order information, which is not the ideal case that we already have discussed. But now we'll try to achieve it, and then we'll try to see how transactional is helping us not achieving these things. So come here, and we are good. Now let me try to go to the controller, create one controller here. So let's say order controller. Just right click on it. Let's say REST controller, request mapping. Let's say the class level mapping is API. Now let me create one post mapping here. So let's say uh, how we can access this post mapping. The URL should be API slash order or something like place order. Sorry, place order. Okay. Now its return type should be order acknowledgement. Okay. And let me try to put it as a public order acknowledgement. The method here should be place order, and we should be passing the order request here as a request body. So let me try to do that. Order request, order request. Let me try to remove this. And now we'll try to call the service method. So just copy this, come here to the order controller. Let me try to auto add the service reference here. So at the rate AutoWire private order service, just import this. Now with the help of this order service, we'll try to call the method that we have created inside the order service, which is place order or placing order, something like that, and we'll pass the order request here, and then we need to simply return it. So we are good now. So everything we have did. Now let me try to make our application up and then try to show you those things. So just run this application and just wait for a few seconds. It will try to run our application. It will try to fire some Hibernate query, and then so you can see our application is up on the port number 9000. Now let me try to go to the database and try refreshing this DB. Go to the table. You can see we have these two tables created inside our tables, which is order information and the payment information. Now let me try to run the query here, which is order info. Table is order information, order underscore information, and payment underscore info. So let me try to run a select query on these tables and so you can see we don't have any record as of now. Let me try to run for the payment information as well. It is also not having any record. Now let me open the postman and try sending the order request from the postman and see what is the response. So first of all, yeah, let me try to go to the util class and try to see what are all the details for the particular product we have. What is the amount for the particular product? So go to the payment validation. You can see here we have created this map, and inside the map we have the product name and their amount and their price, right? So let me try to go to the postman and let me try to hit the API. So it is place order, and our application is up on the port number 9000. Class level mapping was API, and the post mapping we have created for that mapping is place order. Let me go there and show you. So order controller, and you can see API place order. We are good. Go to the body, and here you need to create the body. So what we have the order information and the payment information. In order information, we have ID, product name, order status. In the payment information, we have ID, product name, and the amount. So we have ID, product name, and the order status in order information, ID, product name, and the amount. Okay. So let's say the order information is, sorry, order ID is 101 and product name is mobile and the order status is confirmed, and the payment related information for that particular order is, let's say the payment ID is 1 and the product name for the which we are going to make the payment is mobile, and the amount we are going to send for the product mobile is 5000. But what is the listed amount for that particular product? It is 20,000, right? You can see it is 20,000. So what if we are going to send 5,000 as a request? So order will be placed or not? No, order will not be placed because if the amount is less than the amount which is listed here for that particular product, it will throw an exception. So let me try to hit that from the postman. You can see, and let me try to send it. So here you can see we are seeing this internal server error. In this case, we should be logging the exception here. So let me try to go down and you can see we are getting this insufficient amount exception, right? Which is the case. But in this case, what all the details we have saved in the DB. Okay, so here you can see, here you can clearly see that when we are sending the less amount for the particular product, then the order is not being placed, right? We are getting the exception called insufficient amount. So if the order is not being placed, then we should not save the details of the order information in the DB, right? But what is the scenario here? Let me try to run this query and show you. So just right click on it. In the payment information, we don't have any record. Coming to the order information, you can see we have the record inserted inside the order information. Even the order is not completed, order is not placed, but still we have the record. This is not the ideal case. This is not how we can manage the transaction. The transaction is not completed, so the action should not be inserted into the DB, right? But this is not happening here. So how we can avoid it? So there comes the picture of at the rate transactional. So now let me try to come here and go to the order service, and you can annotate this method with at the rate transactional to avoid this kind of scenario. So just use at the rate transactional and just try to rerun this application. And let me try to come here to the postman, and let's say we are going to book some other order. Okay, so let's say we are going to order the laptop. So for laptop, what all the details we have, let me go to the payment validation. For laptop, the payment or the price is 60,000. So come here, laptop. Let's say the order ID is 102. Status is confirmed. Let's say the payment information, payment ID is 2. Product is laptop. And let's say we are going to purchase this laptop with the money called 30,000. So we have 30,000 in our bank account, but the price for this laptop is 60,000. So in this case, the order should not be placed, right? So let me try to send it. So you can see we are getting this 5,000 error. Come here to the log. You can see we have the insufficient amount exception got. So it is good. Now let me go to the DB. So earlier what was happening in the order information, even the order is not completed. In the order information, we are just inserting the order information related details. Even the payment is not done, even the order is not completed. But here, when we have used at the rate transactional, this should not be the case. If the payment is failing, then the payment information is not inserted into the DB, and same as the order information is also not inserted into the DB. That means if we are failing one action in the pipeline, then all the actions should be failed. Okay, so let me try to uh, run this query, which is select a star from the payment information. So in the payment information, we don't have any record, and in the order information, we don't have any record related to the laptop, right? So this is good. Our at the rate transactional is working fine. This record is coming from the condition where we have not implemented at the rate transactional, right? So this is how at the rate transactional is helping us to carry out the transaction management in a Spring Boot application. Now let me try to insert couple of records in the DB and providing the reasonable amount. Okay, so let's say for the laptop, so let's say we are going to book the order for the tablet. So the order ID is 103 and the product name is tablet. Okay, let me try to see if the tablet is there or not. So tablet is there. Its price is 30,000. Okay, so 30,000 tablet. Sorry. Okay, and let's say the payment information ID is 3. So in this case, we are providing the 30,000, right? And this is the price for the tablet as well. So in this case, our transaction is completed. That means order information and the payment information, both of them would be saved in the DB. So let me try to send it. So let me try to send it, and you can see the success. So here we are getting the order acknowledgement, which is having the status, and the payable amount, which is 30,000, and the payment information. Okay, and let me try to go to the MySQL and try to run this select query. So you can see in the order information table, we have the order details logged, right? And for the tablet, we have the order details inserted in the order information. Coming to the payment information table, just run the select query. You can see the payment related information is also there. So this is the purpose of at the rate transactional. This is how we can manage the transaction in a Spring Boot application using at the rate transactional. So this is about the video, guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button and please subscribe the channel for more such content. Thanks.